10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team ban. Radiant team pick.
Life Stealer.
Dire team pick.
Faceless Void.
Dire team pick.
Lion.
Hello everyone, as you can hear, we are starting our next match, which is going to be Digital Chaos versus Void Boys. I'm Capitalist, joined by Purge Gamers. Purge, did you enjoy that last game with FDL and Complexity?
I enjoyed casting it, watching it hurt me a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt the same, but
I
whenever I see lineups like that, and I see how the pieces fit together, but the teams don't do it correctly, it pains me because I'm like, oh, it looks so good. It looks like it's going to be so good. And they do it poorly, it makes me frustrated. And I don't get frustrated because the players are bad because I know they're better than me. That's what makes it even more humbling. You're like, man, these guys are better than me, but I played that one Lion game where I didn't hex or spike somebody for 40 minutes. And I'm like, I've been there doing that, but it's frustrating to watch. But too bad for them. Hopefully they can turn things around. This is a new game, though.
Yeah, Digital Chaos versus Void Boys. I said on the panel last time that I would have put money if there is going to be an upset here on FDL over Complexity rather than Void Boys Digital Chaos, but Complexity have actually looked a little bit better than DC, you could say, and Void Boys still have a lot of talent, and while I think FDL is a little bit better, Void Boys may still be able to do something here. I find this pretty interesting, though. The Lifestealer first pick, nothing real different about that. But the Faces Void Lion combination, we're seeing less and less Phoenixes as time goes on. And that is very clearly, like, if you're going to 1-2 something, right? Faces Void Phoenix is very common pickup. DC choosing the Lion instead.
I feel like the reason they might have done Lion, I didn't see who had first pick, but I'm guessing it was Void Boys. I feel like Void Lion is better against Lifestealer than Phoenix would be, because even if you Sunray him Chronosphere, as soon as he presses Rage, then Phoenix is not doing anything hero at that point. So having Lion at least gives you different options. You can blink Hex, follow-ups, start the fights different ways, stuff like that.
Right, I completely agree. I think it's a better counter to Lifestealer. We now see the Elder Titan going the way of Void Boys, so
good against Elder Titan as well. Phoenix wouldn't be able to counter anything that Elder Titan does. So
yeah,
disables are good, man. Timbersaw Band, very good against Lifestealer and other heroes. Same case with Juggernaut, very good against Lifestealer and Elder Titan, for example. So those would be a little problematic. Makes sense for Void Boys to ban them.
Yeah, I really like the way that Complexity drafted against the Lifestealer in their game number 1, where they had Juggernaut as one of their heroes, Templar Assassin as their mid, a Winter Wyvern was sitting behind that TA. There was it was so hard for the Lifestealer to actually get successful in Fest ganks. Their lineup didn't really it didn't enable Infest ganks a whole lot, but it was still going to be really difficult, kind of no matter what, just because Complexity picked up heroes that were hard to kill, plus were counters to Lifestealer with their physical damage.
Lich is the next pick for DC, a bit peculiar in that not a lot of teams are picking this, but it's very good against Lifestealer, and it also counteracts a lot of what Elder Titan does, which is lower your base armor. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
against some of these heroes, it's not that big of a deal. Lion Lich, not very high base armor, but throwing a Frost armor on top of that is going to make a big difference, even for something like Echo Stomp, for example. I assume the Spirit does the magic damage component of that,
Yes.
by the way, whereas
Yes,
the
it
hero
does.
does the physical. But in terms of Earth Splitter, the ultimate, even throwing a Frost armor on people, it makes a huge difference towards resisting the damage that it does. So I like the Lich pick, especially if it gives them some laning advantage. It could be really good, and I could see Lich dual lane versus Lifestealer being really effective.
Do you think it's Lich faces Void as our dual off lane, or do you think this is
Could
a
work.
safe lane Void?
That actually sounds quite dirty
Yeah,
in
it
a lot of
does.
ways. Like the advantage that you get from Frost Armor in the laning stage when most of your damage is right clicks, it's
Right.
amazing. It does limit Lich a lot then because you don't get as many sacrifices or mana or nukes. But I feel like Frost Armor is actually really good in the laning stage. It's just most teams don't prioritize that way because it's a little dangerous. If the fights happen to go a little bit bad,
Yeah.
then your Lich is not useful. So.
Yeah,
work.
I'm anticipating Void Lich. I think the Void already does, like, you already have a lack of lockdown, so he can actually work in the off lane. The Oracle now picked up, that purges off Frost Armor, I think.
Yes, you could with Fortune's End, the first skill.
Right.
I think the bigger thing is basically his ultimate and even his second skill is going to stop almost all of DC's damage, actually. If he doesn't even have to ulti somebody that gets Chronosphere, he could just put Fate's Edict on them, and then they take no magic. They would still take pure damage from Invoker Sunstrike and maybe some right clicks, but Bash is not going to do damage, Lion follow-ups, Chain Frost, that kind of stuff. So
This does make Faceless Void even better in the off lane, though, because now you have your full, what should be tri-lane of Void Boys. They can't contest Faceless Void hardly at all. Like, Oracle's actually very bad versus Faceless Void.
Yeah.
He's got a nuke that heals you, and you could just time walk off the damage and let the heal go in.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
Alchemist, though, for Void Boys, this is very much like Oracle isn't picked, though, to deal with the off lane so much, as you pointed out. It's a counter to some of the mid-game damage coming in.
Yeah, I like the
And-
Alch pick here a lot, actually, because if you look at DC's lineup, it looks like they have really good damage, and they sort of do. It's very magic burst heavy. If they have an Oracle on the backside of that, or an Elder Titan canceling their initiation, that can really counter what DC wants to do here.
Yeah, so Void Boys can have longer, drawn-out team fights where Lifestealer and Alchemist can prevail by being able to survive through the initial bursts and the initial disables of the Chronosphere. And we also have a secondary core to sit next to the Lifestealer. Not really a big fan of whenever I see Lifestealer and them not having some sort of scaling mid, just because I feel like Lifestealer can never... It's such a fragile strategy at that point in time to... You're like, okay, Lifestealer has to go big in ganking and also scale well enough that he carries the game, and you end it, 35, 40 minutes in.
Yeah, if you just survive the first 6 seconds of a fight against a single core Lifestealer, then he starts getting kited for a very long time.
Yeah.
That becomes tough for him, so... Especially if they have Ghost Scepters and things like that. It gets a little iffy for a Lifestealer.
Yeah, speaking of that, we do have all Ags upgrades. You don't oftentimes see the game go that late where all the extra Aghanims upgrades start coming into play, but Earth Splitter with the disarm, and then this one was kind of weird, right? It lowers the cooldown of Purifying Flames for 1 second.
I haven't tried it yet, but
Yeah, me neither.
damage-wise, it's amazing. Just lowering the cast point alone, it's like 0.1 seconds to cast Purifying Flames. You can spam that thing out, man. It's incredible.
And now we have a team fighting hero in the Brewmaster for Void Boys. Honestly, I really like their lineup. If Digital Chaos, I think Void Boys are gonna scale. I mean, it's hard to say because Digital Chaos still have what could be a safe lane farmer to pick up, but Void Boys might be able to scale better than Digital Chaos. They have this really good team fight lineup. If they don't scale better, they're still going to hit really hard around 35, 45 minutes mark, where Alchemist has like a 10,000 gold lead. Lifestealer's at his peak at that point in time. So is Brewmaster, because he's such a level-dependent hero. He hits level 16. That's his peak. I could still see Void Boys winning this kind of no matter which way Digital Chaos takes their next pick.
Yep. Phantom Assassin? No. I think Phantom Assassin is the hero that I always think of the most when I'm thinking of what carry is going to counter, and then I remember it's Phantom Assassin and very situational.
Yeah,
but
it got better ever since the now you can blink through the magic immunity.
Have any teams been picking it against Lifestealer yet?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's still very
no, in
dangerous to do,
America.
honestly. I like the Vanguard Deso build. I think it's pretty good. They go with Gyrocopter instead. It's decent against Lifestealer because once Rage runs out, you can do damage. Fairly survivable, good damage output early game. I like this. I think it's a really good choice. He doesn't have to worry about the Brewmaster. What's it called? The booze.
Oh yeah,
Drunken Haze.
Drunken
Doesn't have
Haze.
to worry about Drunken Haze because he does a lot of his damage just with his spell. So it's kind of a good hybrid of nukes here. Can deal damage to Lifestealer, can deal damage if he's missing. It's a little bit of everything. I really like the Gyro pick.
Yeah, I think like they could have taken this two different ways, but I think if they chose to pick more of a scaling late game core, that they would have just got pushed in by 30 minutes, and they wouldn't have actually had. They would have had Chronosphere, Finger of Death, and Invoker's combination to deal with that. Whatever scaling late game hero probably wouldn't have been that impactful on team fight. So I think at that point you just would have run out. Like Oracle, like one good save underneath the Chronosphere, and then that team fight's kind of over for you. So I think you have a higher chance of success at picking up the early game team fighting hero on Gyrocopter that synergizes well. I still think Void Boys actually have the better draft. And that is something that is very different from our last series. I don't know how you felt about it, but I thought Complexity outdrafted FDL pretty hard both games.
I thought game 2 the FDL had the better draft. Oh, your overlay.
Oh yeah,
I got you, man.
Good call.
Time for the best part of the cast predictions. We got 1 minute.
Yeah.
All right, player with highest total magic or pure damage at 25 minutes.
It's gotta be Gyro, right?
Yeah, I think you're gonna be right. Actually, it's that or Invoker, but he's probably gonna push mostly. I like that. I'll go with Gyro. How long will the game be? This one's gonna go pretty late either way. I think neither team is super good at high grounding, so I think
that's true.
I'm gonna do a 44. 37 or 44 is my call. I'm gonna go with 37. Tower be denied, of course. Player who places the most observer wards by 15 minutes.
I just said misery. Honestly, that's such a crapshoot.
Yeah.
It's just like you pick a warder and hope that you're right.
Okay, I'm committed. All right, so now that we focus on the important part of the match, it's going to be Pat Soul farming safe lane. Alchemist is going to be mid, and their off lane is actually Lifestealer. Okay, I was a little worried, or I was a little concerned. I wasn't really sure which way this was going to go. He does steal the rune. Oh, he doesn't rage in time though. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it looks like he's still good.
That was worth it. Absolutely worth it. Denies a salve at least to Invoker. He also started with a Wraith Band. Weehaw's Invoker is really good though. He played a Quaswex the other day and it fell flat a little bit, so I think this is the better way for them to focus. He's not as good on it.
Now, I think Void Boys, like, it's not that weird that they're running off-lane Lifestealer or anything like that, and putting safe lane Brewmaster, but I think the more interesting thing is that DC are putting the Gyrocopter with the Lich, and then having a safe lane farming Void.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting, actually. I think it's okay. You know, the Lich is obviously going to offset whatever the lane happens here, so I think it's okay. It'll be good damage versus Brewmaster either way, and I think that may have been their goal here, was that they wanted to make sure that Brewmaster didn't get a stupid amount.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do fine in all these lanes, basically.
Yeah.
So,
either way, we're dealing with dual lanes on both sides, and I don't think there's a clear victory for either side's laning phase, kind of no matter where they had it.
Yep, exactly. And they're getting some pulse off for Sox. I mean, that's maybe the one here that's going to lose a little bit too much, is maybe the line won't be able to pull as often as he wants to, since there's a dual lane here. And we should be fine against a Alchemist mid, so it's going to be hard to get Sunstrike kills in the early game, though. Their only really good stun is obviously line stuff, so a little iffy for Chronosphere stuff. But as long as we gets really good last hits, they're going to be fine. At the moment, though, Susie's in the lead.
Yeah, he's actually doing very well in CS. Clairvoyance putting a lot of pressure on the top lane, trying to abuse that early Astral Spirit. He does have to be careful, because we talked about the Sunstrike potential, but it seems like he's got a pretty good idea of how to bully this. He's getting as much damage out of it. Looks like he's even pulling the creeps over now to force Moo to last hit onto the tower and potentially miss some more CS.
It's a good choice. It's going to cost some regen. And at the moment, Snaking has way more, so regen, that is. No boots yet for him, so you can't pressure quite yet. Was that a bounty for Alchemist? No, it was a regen, so a little lucky for them that the bounty was bottom.
Yeah. Overall, this should be a pretty boring laning phase.
Yeah, I think so.
Not a whole lot of kills on either side. Just like, despite the fact that we're seeing like dual lanes, and usually dual lane versus dual lane means there's a lot of potential for action. It just seems like nobody should really die unless there's a major mistake. Like bottom lane, maybe the Gyrocopter goes too far forward. Maybe the Elder Titan is a little bit too overzealous in its harassment in top and gets caught by a Sunstrike combination, but...
Yeah, that's a really good point. And them even killing Brewmaster is very unlikely to happen, because if he gets Rocket Barrage, they're just going to cast Fate's Edict on him,
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly.
and then he just won't die, so it's looking okay for everybody here.
Which does, I mean, if the laning phase isn't really kill happy, it's, and I think the laning phase isn't going to break down too quickly, and you need at least your level 6s on Gyro and Void if you're going to break it down as DC, then that kind of favors the Alchemist, right? I mean, he's doing well enough in his lane, he's happy with just farming away, because the Greevil's greed.
Yeah, it's a really good point. It's going to be hard for them to at some point transition to into shutting down Alchemist. For now, he's really happy. There it is, Fate's Edict on one hero, and Rocket Barrage does almost nothing.
Yeah, that is really... I think that says a lot, right? That about where the draft was, that they had to pick a Gyrocopter into an Oracle like that. Just because he is such a good counter to Gyro's early magic damage.
Yeah, they just needed something that wasn't all in on one type of damage and slightly counterable. So I think the Gyro's okay. I would like to maybe see him go less stat heavy as well, since Elder Titan counters stat-based core so well.
Oh yeah,
because comboing the aura with lifestealer damage, that could actually die really rapidly.
Our Alchemist might actually be going down. Actually, he doesn't have enough for Sunstrike, so never mind. 747 is gonna be good. If he had a little bit more mana, maybe he gets enough right-click damage that a Sunstrike finishes off Suzy, but not the case here.
The old haste rune to save yourself. He was fine either way, but definitely nice for him to pick that up. And with the Soul Ring, he's just going to spam Acid Spray continuously like he has been doing. It makes it really hard to lane with the Fort Spirit, actually. Whereas normally you get to bully people. They're doing quite well in the off lane as well. 19 last hits on Gyro, Brewmaster's got 13. Looks like DC is winning the lanes though. All three of their lanes are doing about as good as Void Boys are, so some slight edge here. And I'm sure they're winning experience as well due to Lich.
Oh yeah, for sure. Lich holding off. No, he actually does go for it now. That Frostblast is a really weird animation. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I have a little bit. That's the first time this game.
At first I thought it was like Brewmaster doing something. I was like, what? But
I haven't had a chance to try out the new Immortals yet. Looks cool. It's like a split earth, an ice split earth, basically.
Yeah.
I like it.
Alright, now Alchemist is going to go back to farming up the jungle. This is where Void Boys can catch up a little bit, is when Alchemist starts farming stacks and Elder Titan is able to take the mid lane, get some solo experience. That'll eventually happen. Looks like it's not going to happen now, though.
Yeah, he messed up the stack a little bit. Elder Titan's kind of... He messed up his mid stack here. This would have been a 3 camp, which would have accelerated Suzy a little bit. So they're missing some efficiency here on Void Boys, whereas DC seems to be pretty much doing everything perfectly.
Yeah, they even contesting this small little pull and making sure that their hard camp pull succeeds.
Yep, really nicely done. That's a huge gold advantage going to them. Unless you accidentally pull it onto yourself. No, you're fine. Resolution's gonna handle this.
You think,
Except for that one.
seems like if anything, Radiant needs to block out this camp in a duel versus duel scenario.
Well, normally I'd agree, but Lich does push the wave back a bit, so in a lot of cases it isn't a big deal. But they have been fighting for it a little bit. I think originally DC did block it, and then Void Boys unblocked, so. Petzl taking some good damage finally. Nope, never mind. Nothing has happened. Gonna see a stomp on Wii, which might give him the invis. Yeah, okay. He doesn't really care though.
You know it's a very static laning phase, and the big plays are a stomp to steal the invis rune, which probably isn't going to give you anything, but we'll have to see. Maybe. No, they get a lucky bash. They get one. Now the Chronosphere. It looks like Snaking is going to be our first blood, as he's not even level 6. Just a little bit caught out there, unable to get off the rage ahead of the initiation by the Lion, and coupled with the Chronosphere, they get the kill.
Yep, really nicely done of Invoker to steal the kill as well, since it's going to accelerate him faster towards the Midas, and I have full faith in Wee's Exhort Invoker. I'm sure that he's going to use that gold to good use.
Yeah, absolutely. Weehaw. Very good Invoker player, and the faster you can get that Midas, you start progressing to that deep late game Invoker where he's got Ags and level 22. Invoker, that's why I keep wanting to see, like, whenever I'm like watching a draft and I see The mid lane is open. I want to see an Invoker just because he scales so well. Bottom lane, they're going to go into Misery here. The Gyrocopter is going to try and turn things around, but Patsoul is not actually taking any damage, but he's also not ditching it out. They're not able to kill Misery, and now it's going to be Clairvoyant as well as Patsoul as the Brewmaster who goes down. Fortunately for them, the Brewmaster did die to the neutrals, but now Omega Poner also dies. Resolution with the double kill. They thought they were executing a gank, but they're running into a Gyrocopter, one of the tougher team fighters in the early game, and that obviously turns against Void Boys quite heavily.
I think that was actually kind of Omega Poner's fault on the Oracle. He casted Fate's Edict on the the Brewmaster to stop the Gyro Rocket Barrage, but then the Lich gets away, and as soon as the Lich gets away, then they're definitely overextended. So they probably still would have lost some heroes there regardless, but they had to get that kill. They also missed the Stomp. They went for the Spirit Stomp and they missed that, so they kind of missed a lot of their skills there and led to dire situations.
So both the side lanes have now been dealt a serious blow for Void Boys. And our mid lane still going okay. 747 is top in CS, has the armlet complete by 8.5 minutes. But Weeha will on his way with his progression as well in items. He's got the Hand of Midas complete.
So really good for him. It does become quite hard for DC to kill Alchemist for a long time now. And he's not going to slow down his acceleration with the slowing and the armlet. He's got everything he needs.
I wonder how much Digital Chaos, like they just won both the side lanes by being able to get a kill apiece. Do they rotate out with the Chronosphere Gyrocopter ult? Do they try and force some, like, you know, Void TP's bottom, gets a Chronosphere with the Gyro ult, and they try and take an objective after getting a kill? It doesn't seem like it. In fact, they're going to use the Chronosphere here. Snake King, once again, overestimating himself, perhaps, as he's going to get taken out by the Sunstrike, again, coming out from Weeha, as Digital Chaos continue the dual lane pressure, and it seems to be working out beautifully as Void Boys making the mistakes.
That's Lifestealer, man. It's just only so much you can do against a Faceless Void. You can't kill Void, and Void can always set up for you. So I did like basically what happened there. Soxka showed on the bot lane. They failed the gank, and immediately hides in trees and he TP's top, which is probably why Lifestealer felt able to play aggressive there. He didn't anticipate somebody like the Lion showing up there.
Right. And that is actually a combination that deals really well with Brewmaster as well as the Lifestealers. So it's not even like Void Boys have a better option, right? It's the Chronosphere holds you for so long that the Lion, whether beforehand or after the hand, is going to be able to get his disables in.
Yep.
And
well, we will be able to get a tower mid at least, unless there's a deny, which would make my predictions correct.
Me too.
I like
the deny 747. Oh no.
He did that really well. Rather than hitting the tower, he just started wailing on 747, which actually posed a threat. He lost 10 armor from the Eidolons, so there was a small chance that he could get the kill there. So gets the last hit. Tower dead mid, which is going to open up the map for DC, considering that they have such good heroes that can kind of pair together to get kills. It's one really nice thing about DC's draft here.
And there's the smoke from Digital Chaos. They're going to be the Gyrocopter into mid lane, actually, see if they can get the Alchemist. It looks like they should be successful. Chemical Rage only just now coming up. He's going to try an armlet through all of this. The stomp. Oh, it is beautifully timed just before they're able to kill 747. Now, I'm not sure what Clairvoyance is doing there as he runs closer, but Resolution is able to take that kill. They don't have a disabled stop this, so Resolution is able to complete his TP out 5-0 now to the favor of Digital Chaos.
Yeah, Misery a little greedy there to not Chain Frost, but I mean, if he armlet toggles through it, then you waste your Chain Frost and you feel real dumb, so probably for the best they saved it. Really nice Echo Stomp that basically just didn't work because Elder Titan was in the right place at the right time, so well done by him. Saving his core.
Yeah, well done indeed. What do they need? Like, Void Boys, I think it's the Blink Dagger on Patsoul that kind of shakes up the game for Void Boys, where they can start being on the offensive.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's the problem with their two supports. Oracle has a little bit of weak lockdown. Elder Titan kind of the same situation. Once they get Blink on Brewmaster, they're going to start Blink Clap ulting people and hopefully getting kills. Yeah. The hard part is that some of their heroes are very survivable. You know, Invoker goes Invis, Gyrocopter is pretty tanky. Void can generally jump away, so it's going to be a little hard, and it's going to make them very cooldown reliant, but it's what they have to do.
Well, I am definitely not winning this ward war. I did not pick a warder. Apparently Sox is going to throw out all the wards, and looks like he's also going to be dying here. The rage should last long enough for them to be able to pick up that kill. 747 even kicking the unstable concoction into play as well.
Radiant
They're actually doing alright. Void Boys is behind in kills, obviously, and yes, okay, never mind. They're 5,000 gold behind. That's bad.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
I wonder how often Omega Poner here might die to Lich. Yep, great
Sunstrike. All right.
Wee's ability to hit Sunstrikes is actually pretty incredible.
Yeah, he's been on the mark every single time so far this game. And the Blink Dagger seems to be coming at a snail's pace now. I just clicked on him like a minute ago. He was 1,700 gold. Now he's at 1,800. Without that kind of like initiation, and I think that was why they were trying to put the Brewmaster safe lane to make sure he gets the farm, because his initiation is what sets up the Elder Titan and the Lifestealer for success, right? They get an Infest Bomb.
Yeah. I think they did it more likely just because Brewmaster was going to be more survivable against Gyro Lich, personally. Whereas Lifestealer would have been pretty much doing nothing. Like, laning Lifestealer is actually not very strong unless he's backed up by a good dual support.
Stun comes in.
Missed the stun.
Snaking, fully committing here. But oh no, the finger of death just a half a second late. And Snaking is able to get off the rage that ends up dodging the magic the magic damage.
Yeah, he missed the Earth Spike, so that was... They basically just had Hex for stun then. So
yeah,
that could have worked otherwise, but too bad for them.
Not great, not great. Digital Chaos miss a gank. Good for Void Boys though.
Yeah, those are big cooldowns. Chain Frost down for 92, Finger of Death for 132. This kind of like equalizes both teams' lineups essentially. Void Boys can't do anything until they get Blink on Brew. They've got it now. On the bright side, at least DC doesn't have Chain Frost, and they've got Chronosphere already, so there won't be any kind of like crazy 3-man end the game team fight.
Moo can push really aggressively at bottom lane. You've seen this lineup. He has no stuns to fear.
Yeah, he's really survivable.
That is going to be a bit concerning. That does mean the gank should be, like, if the Brewmaster starts moving around, Invoker, target number 1, I think, Gyrocopter number 2, but they are not showing either one of those heroes right now. Digital Chaos are actually keeping Invoker in the jungle. He's farming away. The only support that they could gank, even if Brewmaster had his blink and he was looking for it right now, which he's actually going to go an invasion into the jungle, they may be able to find thanks to the invis picked up by Clairvoyance. They get the stomp. Do they have the vision? What?
Oh,
no.
Come on.
That's not okay. Very disappointing, Void Boys.
That's not okay. I mean, that was really fast by Wii, but that's not okay. He actually casted that within the duration of Echo's Stomp. Either way, they still wouldn't have been able to kill him in time. He would have casted as soon as he woke up. Yeah, would have lived. That's not okay. You got to carry a dust.
Now they have the Radiance. That means the lockdown gets even worse, because now if you land a stomp, they're going to wake up a second later.
That's a good point. They're going to have to communicate really well about that, and hopefully they have been. I mean, they picked Alchemist a little bit late. It was their 4th pick. Doesn't necessarily say that they haven't practiced this strat before, but Susie's been farming so on it that I have faith in their ability to do this.
Alright, this is the pick off they desperately need, but Resolution's gonna back up just in time. They see Pat Soul now.
Yeah, that word.
And that is another slightly missed opportunity there for Void Boys.
They've just been farming the map so well. They've constantly pushing in the bot lane, they're pushing in top lane. They also have Observer Ward set up, that way when the rotations come through, they can see them coming. They're just playing this game so amazingly. And Weeha's probably farming about as equal to Alchemist, and he actually is. He's only about 1,000 behind, which is incredible considering it's Alchemist. So Wee's doing great. He's got Ags already. It's 16 minutes. He actually has Ags at 16 minutes with Drum and Midas. Like, Exor Invoker, man, this is... Why would we ever do anything else? This is what he knows how to do well.
And I'll start getting some of those Wex levels, and we can see the full team fight Invoker coming in pretty soon here. They pop out, they're going to get a kill on Misery. It looks like that is not a high value kill considering how long Snake King was sitting inside the Brewmaster, and they wanted so much more, but at least they got something.
There's no way Misery doesn't be like, you sat in him for that long? I don't care if I die, that's fine.
Yeah, plus he's pushing, like, he's putting himself pretty aggressively right at top lane, and if they gank him, that means Digital Chaos know Roshan is totally free to take, which they started about 30 seconds ago.
That was one of the really strong things about Invoker when he went through that terror where he was by far the best mid. That he just kills Roche so fast with Forward Spirits and Alacrity. And it's done. They've got Aegis now, which means all their next couple fights are going to go even better. All of their lanes went well, basically. Everybody on DC is happy. They've got Blink on Lion. Their Lich is very close to a Midas, which at this stage of the game, I'm completely okay with, considering that DC's ahead. Everything's looking real good for DC.
Yeah, it certainly is. I gotta say, I did not anticipate this laning phase going this well for Digital Chaos. I thought, you know, like, oh, move. Oh, okay. I mean, either way, there was a Chain Frost, so we was gonna live anyway, but still. First hit bash coming out from Moo. Secures yet another kill. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, they're actually trying to take out Resolution. They are successful there. Now, the question is, can they take out Weehaw? Do they have the vision to be able to do so? Remember, he's got that Aegis, so there's Ghost Walk, #1. They really don't.
Is there one on Brewmaster? Maybe? Oh, Brewmaster has it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, what a juke from Weehaw.
They know. Okay. Alright, they're gonna find him. So, Weehaw will die twice.
That's pretty huge, actually, that they were able to get the Aegis like that.
Yeah.
Really well done by Void Boys here.
Weehaw, get a little
gonna get it, right?
distance. I mean, he doesn't have a link tag or anything, so I just highly doubt he'd have to make some major juking maneuvers.
Yeah.
And Omega Poner does end up dying to the neutral creeps
Okay.
because of that deafening blast.
Alright.
So,
That's, I'm gonna count that as a kill.
yeah. Considering he was very, very dead, and he still managed to pull off at least a death on the Oracle, that's something.
That was really huge kills. Nicely done by them.
Yeah.
I assume... Okay, I think what happened, they infested the Brew to run, and then Brew must have, like, TP'd to the bot lane and then started a fight is what happened. So just a slight miscommunication from DC, basically. They did see that they were both top. They did see him infest the Broom, but they must have gotten bot in time to start the fight.
Yeah.
So.
Who was it that got the Elder Titan at top? Yeah, I was watching that, and then all of a sudden there's that bottom lane fight, and I was just really surprised Void Boys was able to find that kind of opening. But
Yeah, they got distracted, I'm sure.
yeah, it definitely turned the game around a significant chunk, because DC are way up. Now, DC are still way up because they've got a gold lead, plus they're facing an Alchemist, and Alchemist obviously is a hero who needs to be ahead in net worth, and while he may be individually ahead, the rest of his team is so far behind, it's offsetting that. They're going to grab Past Soul here, and that's going to be the Light Stealer inside. They might just be able to blow up Past Soul with no opportunity ult. In fact, he doesn't even have 30 seconds still left. Magic damage doesn't really matter. They right-click him through. Saksa is going to be taken out by Snake King, but the Rage is running out. Going to try and slow him down, but I'm thinking this is a kill they can't really pursue. So they take a 1 for 2 using the Chronosphere, and we'll put some pressure on the tier 2 now.
That was nicely done. Snake King is actually pretty farmed this game. I'm happy with his farm level considering he was off lane like that. But DC taking the fight because they knew there was no Brew ult. So pretty straightforward Chronosphere there. Brew does have Midas, so he's got that going for him. He's going to be gaining some gold here. And most importantly, the levels. And hopefully at some point in Ags, I think that could actually turn around to one of the better Ags in the game. If you can micro it properly and he has decent levels,
Yeah.
he's going to do a lot.
Check out the predictions real quick. Yeah, I wouldn't normally draw attention to this, but look at Misery.
He's
Bossing it out with 4,000
the
magic
highest
damage
magic.
done.
What the heck?
Yeah.
What is he?
Maybe it's the constant Frost Blast that he's spamming early on that just kind of built up.
Yeah.
Because we haven't had, like, insane Chain Frost or anything. I think it's just been the continual play. Resolution caught by 4-7. Looks like this is going to be a death. He's going to be run down by the Radiance. Double damage, and the right rotation works out for him. I'm presuming this ward's got a maybe Gyrocopter farming here or something.
Yeah, that's
I missed
massive.
the setup.
Yeah, I'm sure he got a huge 4-second stun or something like that.
Yeah.
His damage is really good, and with the DD, that's really what did it actually. If he had either of those things, either the ward or no DD, I don't think he would have gotten that kill. So a very, very nice pickup there for 747 and a great ward that spotted good stuff.
And I love this. Void Boys like keeping up the tempo. Like they just got to pick off on top lane, and they're immediately going to go for the rotation wrap around here on bottom lane. They are going to run into Moo, and that's going to be a bit sad because they can't really do anything about Moo. Moo even taking the time to right-click them. Will go for the Chronosphere. They're going to try and pop Pat Soul with a Sunstrike. Misery comes in with the big nukes, but there's the save from the Oracle. That'll ensure that they get off the Brewmaster ultimate. They're now going to be able to come in with their disables. Digital Chaos is just an attempt to be able to get out with as many heroes as possible. Weehaw is going to be the first target here. Does have the Ghost Walk ready to go. It's going to be able to get some distance. Stone comes in, stalling him up, but they managed to get a Tornado. They are actually stalling enough that DC might be able to turn this. In fact, they will. They throw out the Gyrocopter ultimate. They've already taken out the Light Stealer, and now going to be able to run down Omega Poner as well. They kited the Brewmaster ultimate long enough that they were actually able to find an opening to turn, as Resolution is there to provide the big magic damage impact. And what else do they get? Yeah.
That was funny. He ran in the corner, and then all of DC was standing here, and he popped smoke, so the smoke just like blew across their face, and they're like, I think he's right there, guys. I think if he actually just stood there, he would have lived. But
is there a cubby hole in that area?
Yeah, he was standing in there somewhere. It was like, I don't know, maybe It was in there. He was definitely in the trees. Not sure where exactly, but yeah, it looked really good for Void Boys there. Despite the Chronosphere failed, didn't get a kill out of it. The Oracle saved him, but they just couldn't get a kill. They were a little bit too far, and that came down to DC doing a great job kiting the Lifestealer, keeping Lifestealer away from getting those kills.
Of course, we don't have it, but I think the I'm watching the multicast, the instant replay right now, and I think a little bit of it, and it's a very minor thing, but I think Pat Soul, if they don't pop out with the Infest, and Pat Soul holds onto his ultimate for 3 more seconds, because when the Oracle ultimate is placed on you, you guarantee you have a blink. Right? So if he just waits for the damage instance to go down, they can't stop that. He blinks forward, they get a better position for that ult, and their DC aren't able to kite as well. Maybe that fight looked a bit different.
Yeah, but that's something you don't always think about. You know? If you don't play with Oracles that often, that aspect is a bit unknown to you, but I definitely agree he probably could have gotten a much better blink.
But that's obviously something neither one of them are thinking about, right? Because that would also mean, like, Lifestealer has to stay inside the Brewmaster, and...
Yeah, that would have been pretty next level if they held that out. It definitely would have gotten them kills, but I don't blame them for not thinking about that at all. That would have been very difficult.
Yeah, me neither.
That's
Misery...
like firm mechanics.
They've got a gem now on DC, so they're going to start controlling this map even further. Void Boys, that gem does offer potential, though, right? That's 1,800 gold swing if you can actually get the kill on the Lich. So if they find the right team fights, they can take away some of the very aggressive wards that Digital Chaos have laid down, and maybe things will look a lot different. This is interesting. DC actually think that right now Void Boys are looking for a fight and looking to invade the Dire Jungle and maybe catch Resolution, but instead it's just going to be Snake King who gets caught.
Ugh. That's scary, and that's the problem with Faceless Void, against Faceless Void here. He can bash your Ancient, he can Chronosphere your Ancient, and then if you have all these stunners there set up, then you're going to have a bad time, and that's what happened.
Do you think Lifestealer still deserves to be 1-2? Because the way I'm watching the American qualifiers, at least, I don't believe he is first pick material. Or
yeah, he hasn't been anymore. I kind of like it for Void Boys because I think they've been doing a really good job setting up ganks and moving around the map together, but as an off lane, I'm not super sold on it. But he's actually been doing quite well considering that he's been an off lane. But I would agree, definitely not first phase. I think teams spent, like a couple weeks, a month figuring out how to beat Lifestealer, and now the hero's worse, so it's a little dangerous to pick on that early.
Tier 2, gonna fall. TP's coming in. Are they really gonna do this one? No way, that was an Oracle TPing.
Baited ulti, get wrecked. Alright, oh, he built Octarine, duh. For some reason I thought he was building his first Ags, but Octarine, of course. I just wanted to see who was going to give it to. It's probably going to be Brewmaster, almost for sure.
Yeah. Especially since Brew isn't actually going the Ags, he's going Blats right now, which...
It was Invoker. For some reason I thought it was an early game, then 25 minutes.
Oh god, Omega Punter has auto attack on. You can see he's like frantically trying to stop spam.
Did he accidentally attack?
His auto attacks. I don't think so, but...
Okay. That hero has a really low BAT, I believe, so that's actually... There's a chance that he can mess it up. What's this Infest on the catapult? What? Did he just evade a gank that way, I guess? Yeah,
I think he was maybe in a bit of danger from Invoker. Saksa is sitting here within his invis. It's about to run out. He's got a blink though. Is he gonna try and pop? Oh, he is with the Sunstrike. Dirty, dirty Saksa.
Nothing that you can do about that one.
Yeah.
Huge kill. In the meantime, Suzy is still farming. 1-0 and 2 on him. He's actually been doing really well. I think he's playing his role correctly. It's really about getting Ags for his team. They're losing right now, but once he starts pumping Ags into them, I mean, yes, over time they're farming worse than DC, but if they can hit some kind of a window where he offsets some of that farm by making Brewmaster's ult way stronger, then it could lead to a strong team fight.
Yeah, my biggest concern is that I don't think, despite my initial prediction about the draft, it seems like with this offlane I expected Lifestealer to actually be within contest range with the rest of Digital Chaos when it came to net worth. Yeah, and he's just not there. So if that's not going to happen, I think Digital Chaos win late game as well.
I agree with that, but I think there's some potential for them doing real crazy cool stuff. Like, I'm thinking about all the Ags coming into play. They could put it on Lifestealer. He could grab the Alchemist. They could jump in the Brewmaster. They could initiate with 3 heroes.
And that's the kind of stuff that will actually bring the Lifestealer back into the game. We're going to see a smoke here behind the Alchemist. The Andrew running 2 of DC. Mega Opponent trying to save his own life. Not even able to get off the ultimate. Soxon's going to go down. A snap back there. Will be able to get resolution. They get the stuns on the Moo, trying to disable him. But again, they just don't have enough. Now the Chronosphere goes down. Brewmaster barely managed to get away with his Earth Panda. Will be able to turn around for maybe one more stone before he comes back to life. But 747, the big net worth hero, just gets focused down by DC
the bash!
underneath that chronosphere. And even Brewmaster dying. The bash comes out. He gets the purge. And now stopping the stomp. That is going to be a full wipe.
Moo the
Void
Bash
Boys.
Lord, man. He got so lucky. There was like 2 seconds left. Brewmaster would have been able to blink away, but he got him. Overall, that fight looked a lot like Void Boys was behind. Like the fight went quite well for them. They got the initiation. They killed the line at the start. They just didn't get a kill though. They needed a bit more damage.
Yeah, a make punter, like that was kind of the sad part. He was so close to them with that smoke gank that when they stumble onto DC, he just immediately dies as well, and you don't see that kind of saving grace.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, I think if you're in that situation though, trading the Oracle for the line is still like you'll take that as Void Boys, but it could have been so much better if he was sitting farther back.
I mean, even the difference of ulting before you die could have been massive for him. So it was just a little bit of an unfortunate position for their smoke to break because DC had ran through those trees. Possible something they plan and think like, oh wait, if we're smoking, we should always run through trees as we approach, because then our opponents may be standing open where we'll be in trees, and that little thing could have made a difference. Because if they do a blink clap on 2 heroes instead, then Gyro does a little bit less damage at the start, and it leads to a lot of things. So that kind of stuff is what wins majors sometimes.
Now we're going to see the game get even darker for Void Boys. Digital Chaos with the map control they have. We're going to get the second Roshan of the game. They have an MKB about to be complete for the Gyrocopter. That was another thing I kind of thought about, is that the Alchemist and the Brewmaster, like those are both miss percentage, and Gyrocopter's like one of the biggest carries that gets MKB the earliest, right? Because he's naturally pretty far ahead in net worth compared to most other carries because he fights a lot, and that he also doesn't really need any other big items. That's like his first late game item every time.
Normally I'd criticize this because MKB is becoming less and less a Gyro item since all the damage is kind of being put onto the mini bash, but it's definitely very good this game because of the reasons you outlined. They still can win this game though. They just need to get some setups and some kills, but it's very difficult with move scaling as a carry. They have basically 3 heroes on DC that are incredibly farmed, and even Lich is actually equal net worth to the enemy safe lane. That's a really bad sign.
Yeah, indeed. Brewmaster isn't going to scale well, and our Lifestealer just isn't scaling well simply because of the fact that he doesn't really have the net worth to compete with Moo at this point.
Yeah, the fights just had to go a little bit better for them, and they're behind. They can get some advantage when the Ags start coming, but that's going to just start reducing net worth from Alchemist and giving it to other heroes. And at this point, I don't have a lot of faith in what a Ags Brewmaster can do, just because of the fact that they've got a very farmed Gyrocopter on the other side, and he's going to flat cannon them down. Like he does have Vlads now, but a flat cannon is just such a good solution to that. Even with the recent armor buffs that came to some of the Brewmaster pandas, it's still such a good counter.
All right, time to set up the fight. Are they going to be able to do it right now? I'm trying to like see how Void Boys sees this fight and what they're going to be initiating on. That's going to be the Lion. They see him, but he gets the first half over, and now the Chronosphere locking down 2. They're going to go for Snake King, but Resolution's taking one hell of a beating from 747. He does manage to survive though, and they've killed both the heroes inside the Chronosphere, and this just means Van goes to worse because Resolution isn't even going to be deterred whatsoever. He still has an Aegis, and that's why Void Boys will call it. Give him the GG for game number 1.
Yeah, that game was very clearly over there. Looking at it now, I feel like the Oracle pick was just honestly not good in the slightest. It never synergized with the way that Suzy played, and maybe that's Suzy's fault, but he basically AFK farmed for 30 minutes. Yes, he got a kill or 2, which was why I felt like his play was okay, but we never saw Oracle really do anything. That could have been a disabling hero. That could have been like Avenge. It could have been anything better than an Oracle. Yes, it helped in the laning stage, but I think that was the piece that just didn't work well. Elder Titan Oracle.
Yeah, that feels like a very big support duo.
I think it would have worked if the Brewmaster got more farm in lane, maybe. Like if it was not versus the Lich Gyro, but Lich Gyro was able to go even and get advantage in that lane, and it put Brewmaster behind, and then it just was a tough game for them.
I think it works if you're dealing with a typical defensive tri-lane against a single offlaner. I think it can work there because then you've got the Oracle with the